going to talk a little bit about the problems in Vancouver and Canada with housing and how the past governments allowed housing to pretty well go to the shits. There's no consideration made towards Canadian citizens, hardworking people. What the government did is basically the same as what they did with the resources. They sold them to outsiders with disregard towards yourselves, or putting away for the future, or building buildings for the future. They don't even have rent control because they don't favor the hardworking Canadian. They favor the collection of taxes. They favor the British scheme. If you look at law enforcement, they swear out to the Queen. If you look at government officials, they swear out to the Queen. If you look at officials that say they run the country, they all swear out to the Queen. It's really sad. Under the Referendum Party of Canada, I'm going to put an end to that one real fast. The future of Canadians rests in housing and appropriate wages. The government is paying everyone less than $15 an hour. When I was 14, I made $15 an hour, and I'm 60 years old. It doesn't really speak volume for the government. It doesn't speak volume for Trudeau. It doesn't speak volume for the NDP. It doesn't speak volume for the Green Party. They all profess they want reform and change. None of them have environmental policies. None of them have a mining act. None of them have created articles or acts that will benefit the Canadian citizen. All they fall on is the old system. The same old bullshit. The same old. High taxes, high rent, high groceries, and low wages, which leaves you with nothing. I don't understand how citizens can vote for those people. Like, basically, they repulse me. There's no honesty in them. TELUS supports them, and look how expensive your phone bill is. Rogers and Shaw, Bell, they all support these government officials. And in the end, look how much you're paying. Look how much you're paying for reruns. The same old shit you can get for free on YouTube. And it's a beautiful day. What I wanted to say is, if you read the Referendum Party of Canada's policies, you'll see that I do plan on putting rent control in. I don't support paying a foreigner's mortgage in Canada within 10 years. Why do you think people renting a one-bedroom are paying $1,500, $1,600 a month? Because they're paying someone's mortgage and they're getting shit out of it. And in the end, they can get evicted when they can't pay the rent no more. And somebody else will move in and keep paying the mortgage. So explain to me, is that the Canadian way of doing things for the citizens? That's what I have to say to politicians. I never voted. I'll never vote for a scumbag. I'll never vote for Trudeau. I'll never vote for any of them. Because they promise you the same old bullshit. High rent, high groceries, and low income. How do you manage to raise children? You can't. And then what they do is they import migrants with the promise of a pot of gold. And what do they receive? High rent, low wages, expensive food. They can't even afford to make ends meet. I don't think that politicians understand this because their wages are over $100,000 a year. How can some dipshit earning $100,000 a year understand what's going on in the real world? They got a golden spoon feeding them. And they don't do a fucking thing for any of you. They don't make Canadians wealthy. Underneath the Referendum Party of Canada, my intention is to do just that, make Canadians wealthy. Invest for Canadians, create companies for Canadians, owned by all Canadians. Do what Finland does. Do what other countries do. Charge 65 to 70% for the resources extracted. We live in a government system that is pilfering your resources, and they say they're giving you jobs. What happens when the oil runs out? What happens when the gold runs out? What happens when the diamond runs out? They run out as well, and you have no jobs, no homes, no food, because you'll all be broke because the government put its money in its pocket. How do you think Trudeau's walking away with, what, $8 million more than what he was valued at when he started in politics? That's because he's screwing all of you. I have a surprise for the police too as well. Under the Referendum Party of Canada, you're all going to be held accountable for your actions. I have a surprise for industry. I'm coming after you if I get elected. Not if, when I get elected. I want compensation for the environmental damage, and I want the environment corrected. I don't care if you're in Barbados, I don't care if you're in the Cayman Islands, I don't care if you're in France, I don't care where you are in the world, I'll come after you. The Queen, under the Referendum Party of Canada, she won't have anything from Canada. No crown land, no title of any kind. That person is a very wicked and evil person. Canada should never bow to a terrorist, and they bowed to the Queen. How do you think they got all this land? They got this land through acts of terrorism against the Indigenous people of Canada. And now I got the Asians crying racism. You gotta see Chinatown, how they treat Aboriginal people. You all treat Aboriginal people mostly the same way. You call them drunks, alcoholics, or drug addicts. And in the end, most aren't. What you all are is on First Nations land, and none of you acknowledge it. You all cry racism against your own kind, and yet you're all occupying land that was taken from Aboriginal people. A fucking hypocrites. $2,000 a month will be provided to all born and raised Canadian citizens. $2,000 will be reinvested for them every month. I'm going to expropriate all resources and all housing. I'm going to decree it necessity of life. Same with hydro, same with telephone, same with TV. You're going through a crisis right now, COVID. What are these wealthy corporations doing for y'all? Are they lowering your phone bill? Are they lowering your cable? Are they doing anything for you? They're not doing a fucking thing except trying to collect more profit, because that's what they're oriented on. Their orientations are profit. And that's evil, because in the end, someone pays the price for it. Hard-working Canadian citizens. I look forward to running for office.